we're mentally ill.
Oh, wow.
So if you don't see us smile, it's not because we don't love you. It's because we don't want to have either or. It's not a good thing.
Okay.
Also,
That's true. More pictures. Another picture.
Society. Our event here is, we did this for many, many years, and then we had some issues with the park and being worked on and other issues, but it's a tradition of this organization. We've been around in Bayside since 1964, and that we lay a wreath here in honor of Captain Dermody. So I'm going to introduce a few people. Captain Tom DeMaria of the 67th. It's the Long Island Volunteers, is that correct?
we're the 67th New York Long Island Volunteers. Captain Dermody was part of our regiment from the start, and I'll talk a little bit about him and our regiment in a few minutes. Thank you.
That's great. I guess I don't need this.
Okay.
Just speak loud. Thank you. So, thank you all for coming today. We have some elected officials who are here. I want to note them all. We have Senator John Liu. Thank you, Senator John Liu, for coming out.
Thank you, Paul.
We have this. Yeah, actually, is that a state initiative? Is there a state initiative?
Yes, there is.
Do you want to say something about that?
Yes, there's a state initiative to make this all beautiful. Just kidding. First of all, I want to thank Paul and the Historical Society for putting this together. I know it was supposed to be last night. I'm glad it wasn't last night. It was a good move to move it to today. But this is a real piece of history right in the middle of a neighborhood here, a neighborhood that I grew up not very far from, being a graduate of PS203 myself. And I know that for many years, the Historical Society and the Bayside Hills Civic Association was really gunning to get this entire piece of parkland. This is parkland. It's under the auspices of the New York City Parks Department, renovated, conditioned, fixed up, and along the way there were lots of hoops to run through. Lots of issues with the funding, but after being your state senator for the last 5 months, I think we have figured out where all the hoops are. Now we just have to run through all those hoops. So it's a matter of time before we can do some kind of, I don't think it's a groundbreaking, but some kind of public announcement about what the plans are, the timetable, and before we know it, we will be at the dedication of this very important place in history. So, Captain Dermody D'Agostino.
Everyone, it's been maybe going on 4 years, 3.5 years ago. We did a walkthrough here, me and Ronald Kyle, with all the city officials, the architect, the engineer. At that time, I let them know what I wanted here, and Ronald let them know what he wanted for plants. Being that I'm into the construction end, I wanted a lot of certain things that would last, not wooden chairs or wooden benches. And a lot of people come here, they have coffee here, they drink, they sit here, they read the papers. It's a popular little park. And now I'm happy that it's turned over to John, so we can do something together with the proposal. When this grass needs cutting here, I contact the Parks Department and they cut it. I see a bunch of branches here, I pile them up.
Thank you, Commander D'Agostino. You got my word on it, and look, we don't have that many monuments from the Civil War, so we have to do everything we can to preserve and protect, so that many generations of people can understand the history here. And I also want to say that it's not a one-person effort here. Assemblymember Ed Braunstein, Councilmember Barry Granchik, and other elected officials have been very much a part of moving this forward finally. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Mentioned too that we have, as John just said, we have State Assemblyman Ed Braunstein, and we have Councilmember Barry Granchik, all supporters of this. Thank you very much for coming out, guys.
You want to go after me? What John Liu said, take it and double it.
I'm just happy to be here.
Wait, don't what?
Double the money.
We're determined
Build it union.
to fix up this very, very important piece of property that we have. It's a legacy. We don't really have, I don't know of another Civil War monument in my district. And it is obviously very important that we remember those who gave their lives in the defense of freedom. We just celebrated Memorial Day here. We have the Man of the Year for the Little Neck Douglaston Parade here with us, Sebastian D'Agostino, who we have so many troopers in this neighborhood. He's a super trooper, though, and it's such a pleasure to work with him. And Michael Feiner, the president of the Civic, our chair here of our and whatever John needs to get this done, I will stand with him as we have been standing with him. And today's the end of his 5th month in office as our state senator, and I'm just delighted to work with him and with your assemblyman, Steve. So thank you for having us here this evening, and thank you to the Long Island volunteers for being here to help us remember.
Captain William Dormady lived in Bayside Hills.
I just want to take an opportunity to thank everybody from the Bayside Historical Society for all the work that you do, preserving our history and also educating us about our history. And I appreciate being invited to this event tonight and to recognize a true patriot. And as Barry said, Monday was Memorial Day, and it's important for us as a community to get together and pay our respects to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy the way of life that we have as Americans. So I just want to thank everybody for everything they do, and I'll work with all my colleagues to ensure that this location gets the attention and funding.
Thank you. I also want to introduce Eileen Miller. She's the chair of Committee Board Members. Thank you for coming out. And we have some board members here as well from the Historic Society and Barry Genetchik's legal counsel. Stephen Menard, my right. Hal Marion, who's also a board member. And we have our executive director, Laura James. And we have
Who's that?
Pat Golaz from the board. We have Phil Koenigsberg. And we have Ann O'Connell. Raise your hand, Ann. And other various volunteers over the years. Thank you all for coming out. And we have John Britt from American Legion.
Hi, John.
1, 2, 3. Thank you, sir, for coming. So I'm going to tell you briefly a little bit about, actually Tom Padilla, who is a friend, a member of the Historic Society, has some literature, actually some photos of this area over time. So this was part of a larger farm, as you can all imagine. And this piece of land,
It was a farm. 1924.
so he's going to pass them around. So, and it's marked where the spot is right now. And it's a part of a larger farm, which you can see.
And then this is the after.
So Captain Dermody was an abolitionist, and you all know what an abolitionist is. It's someone who fought to stop slavery, actively fought to stop slavery, and he went to the war for a reason, not just because of New York, but because of what he felt in his heart. And we admire that passion, of course, and we've come a great long way since then, but America still has to work on those issues. There's a rise in anti-Semitism, there's a rise in a bunch of problems like that, racial-based, whatnot. And so it's really good that we're here today to honor. As well, I should just tell you, that after the Civil War in 1866, Mrs. James O'Donnell, which was his sister, essentially, set aside this portion of her family farm in honor of her brother, there it is, Captain William Dermody. The Dermody family had emigrated from Nova Scotia, Canada in the early 1800s, and Dermody operated a stagecoach line in Bayside. And I can tell you the stagecoach did go to the corner of Bell Boulevard and Northern Boulevard. So right in that corner where the bank is, which before that was a car dealership. Before that was a hotel where the stagecoach stopped. So maybe Mr. Dermody stopped there. I'm going to turn it over to Tom. He has a lot to say.
I'm a college professor by day. That's my real job. Educating the public about the Civil War and heroes like Captain Dermody is an honor, and it's also an important legacy. So after my lecture, you'll be given a quiz. That's the only way I keep my undergraduates awake. They put a little fear in their heart. But I'd like to tell a little bit about him. I'll try to make it as brief as I can, but it's worth talking about what this brave man went through. William Dermody from Queens enlisted at a recruiting office in Astoria in May 1861, just weeks after the firing on Fort Sumter, and was mustered into the ranks of the newly established 67th New York Infantry Regiment, known as the 1st Long Island Volunteers, started by Henry Ward Beecher, the famous abolitionist, the brother of Harriet Beecher Stowe, in Plymouth Church in Brooklyn. In fact, he supplied the 67th with rifles during the war, which are called Beecher's Bibles, when they came in shipment. So he was an avid abolitionist who supported us. Lieutenant Dermody, at the beginning of the war, was with the 67th Regiment from the very beginning, undergoing instruction with the rest of the regiment's raw recruitments for 6 months in the military training camps in Washington, where he was promoted to captain. He then fought in one of the bloodier battles for our regiment. We started with about 900 soldiers. We lost 150 men, were killed at a battle of Seven Pines in Virginia, and shortly after we also fought in Malvern Hill. Shortly after that, in 1863, Captain Dermody was with the 67th as they stormed Mary's Heights at the Second Battle of Fredericksburg. Just a little over a month later, William endured, along with the rest of the 1st Long Island and the entire 6th Corps, a 37-mile march, which they covered in just 17 hours, to get to Gettysburg to help defend the Union right at Culp's Hill, where they helped capture 17 Confederate soldiers charging up in the mountain. Amazing story in terms of the courage and effort those men had. And thereafter, they pursued Lee through Virginia, and they fought at the Battle of the Wilderness, where they lost about 93 men in the regiment. Then, on May 12th, Captain Dermody was again ready to go into the Battle of Spotsylvania. The initial assault, Spotsylvania, commenced at 4:30. At the end of the day, there was a total of 18,000 Union casualties and 12,600 Confederate casualties. 19 men from the 67th New York died in the assault, including an additional 27 wounded and 2 recorded missing in action. Sadly, Captain Dermody died that day. He was killed on May 12th, which is fitting that this anniversary, right around Decoration Day, is near the time of his death. Being an officer in the Army, Captain Dermody's body was not buried in Virginia. He was sent home, and he was laid to rest at Mount St. Mary's Cemetery in Flushing. The Civil War changed this country forever. Let us therefore tonight pause to remember our brave captain of the 67th New York, who gave the ultimate sacrifice. As Abraham Lincoln said, that this nation under God shall have a birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. Thank you. 67th New York. Present arms. Drummer, sound your beat. Drummer.
Okay, let's have a round of applause for our volunteers. Beautiful ceremony. And I'd also like to thank again Carol Marion from our board for making this beautiful wreath and for taking the time to put it all together. And Ann O'Connell. Thank you both.